Hey y'all, welcome to the last panel of MAGFest. Legitimately, is anyone here going to another panel after this?
I was gonna say there are some.
Me then.
Yeah, there are some.
What the hell? You've been hyping this up as the last.
The last
Welcome
favorite
to our
panel of MAGFest.
last panel.
My 12th panel. Let's go. Has anyone in the room been to all 12?
Oh my gosh, you get a free toaster.
That's true. I owe you a toaster. You're going to get a toaster in the mail. Trust me. Just mail it to me. Yeah, no. So hello and welcome to So You Want to Be a Content Creator. Yesterday we did the Twitch Creator Camp panel. Today, that was the panel all about the tools that Twitch gives you. It's how amazing and easy it is to use Twitch to become a successful content creator. Today we're going to flip the switch a little bit. Today we're going to talk about the real stuff about, hey, this is the challenges you're facing. These are the things you can do. This is the, hey, like almost like a So You Want to Be a Content Creator After Dark, but it's like noon.
Twitch doesn't sponsor this one, so we can say whatever we want.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Well, Sam's
I'm going
a
to say
Twitch
whatever I
ambassador,
want.
but everyone else but Sam can say whatever they want. And also, I just wear a Twitch staff hoodie. I don't work for Twitch.
A fun trick.
I am not Mr. Joe Blow Twitch. So, but yeah, so welcome to So You Want to Be a Content Creator. I'm going to ask everyone on the panel to say who they are, what their affiliation with Twitch or content creation is, their history, and their favorite Pokemon. Starting with the amazing, the illustrious,
Hey,
the
I'm Sam.
fantastic Sam.
And also, so I've been streaming on Twitch for 9 years, was partnered back in 2017, and I've been a Twitch ambassador since 2021. My favorite Pokemon is Alolan Vulpix.
Ooh. I'm 8C Justin. Hi. I've been streaming since 2011, partner since 2014. I do variety. I'm a little tired. I'm sorry. I could hear it in my voice.
I do variety.
Yeah. Been streaming for a very long time. I stream everything I could think of, like gaming to cooking to fitness to art, just whatever. And my favorite Pokemon is Muck. What?
I know why.
No, you don't. I think they look cool.
They do.
Yeah.
This is recorded.
My name is Ryan Capps. I go by McLaffy Taffy on Twitch. I've been partnered for going on 9 years now, streaming for 10 or 11. I'm the guy that's going to throw hard stats at you that tell you that the world is aligned against you and your dreams, and I'm going to be the sad dad of the group. I will preface it by saying that over those 9-10 years, I've had thousands of people come through my chat asking me for advice on how they can make it as a broadcaster. And virtually none of them ever come back and tell me their successes. If I'm being honest, there's only ever been one, and it would be like crazy if they were on the panel. Oh, and Cubone. Because that's just the saddest ass story I've ever heard in my life. I love that. So.
Hi, my name is Amber Carr. I stream as Bloodberry Tart, and I'm the person Taffy was talking about. I showed up in Taffy's chat and was like, "How do I do this? It's COVID, and I want to go online and I want to play games. I want people to watch it." And Taffy was gracious enough to actually give me some advice, and I was able to come back a year later and say I made partner, and they've been kind of stuck with me ever since. My favorite Pokemon is Scyther.
My name's Noah Downs, a.k.a. my lawyer friend. I've been a Twitch partner for 3.5 years now, which is weird because I don't stream. I do stream very occasionally for charity. I'm the GM of the Forgotten Pats podcast, that's where I make my content creation, which is a D&D actual play.
We can plug our non-Twitch stuff here.
Yeah, Barry is is on a wonderful show called Skull Tenders.
That's right.
Yeah. And I am also everyone up here's lawyer because I represent content creators. And I represent over 600 content creators and broadcasters across YouTube and Twitch and have for approximately 8 or 9 years. So I'm going to give you the legal business side of things while these people give you the information you actually want. With that, I do need to give a quick disclaimer. Anything that I say that's in the legal realm or the illegal realm, as it might be, is for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as creating an attorney-client relationship. It is not legal advice unless you are actually already my client, in which case we'll talk about it later. Hi. What I'm trying to say is don't take this information and try it at home. Go to a friend's house. So the first thing I want to kind of toss for anybody in the panel, we don't have to go into line, but we're welcome to if it helps you guys organize, is how did you get started in content creation? And yeah, that's a good start. How did you get started in content creation? Oh, Munchlax.
Okay.
What did you say?
Munchlax, my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, he didn't say what his. Okay, I'll go. I'll get this train back.
Sunday.
My thing was that I was in my early 30s, which was a while ago if you just look at me. I was a failed actor. The 2008 economic collapse, one of those once-in-a-lifetime events that we've seen 6 or 7 of now, happened. And I felt very grateful just to have a table waiting job. But I had a table waiting job and a theater degree, and I got tired of people coming up to me and saying, like, you're too smart to just be a waiter. What else are you doing? And I was like, I'm really nothing. I found YouTube through playing Call of Duty with a buddy, and I was very good at video games as a teenager, but I'd kind of been off them for a while, and I got my ass absolutely handed to me in Modern Warfare 2 and got, like, bitter about it. So I went to YouTube looking for, like, tips and tricks, and what I discovered there was the birth of sort of this entire ecosystem with, like, Machinima and Machinima Respawn and CNanners and Hutch and all those guys. And so, long story, like a 12-year-old story trimmed down to a couple sentences. I found a buddy. We started a channel together. This was back when there was absolutely no money to be had. All of it was for the love of the game. You'd hear a story about, like, somebody made enough money off their YouTube channel to buy a new computer. And it was like, you're a fucking liar. There's no way. There's not that kind of money rolling around on YouTube. And so we started tackling it like a full-time job because it was the only creative outlet that I had. And so I would sit there waiting tables and write like scripts and stuff inside my checkbook. And then I'd get home after a 7 or 8 or 12-hour day and then log 6 hours with my friend that my wife was gracious enough to let me do on like Skype with like iMovie editors and stuff like that. And we started there and became Respawn directors, and I got into Twitch, and I worked without a net, which is so stupid, and it shouldn't have worked, but it did. And now I'm lucky enough to call this a job. I haven't done anything else for 6 years, 7 years now. So that's me.
So before I was a streamer, my background was in live performance. I was a live musician, a touring musician, and it was something I was really passionate about. I really enjoyed performing in front of like a live audience, getting that immediate feedback, having that interaction with the audience was really fulfilling to me. And then COVID happened, and suddenly there was no live music at all for a long time. And I was like, I probably spent like 6 months just kind of going insane, but that's like, you know, I'm sure relatable because everybody did. But I was like, I need to find a way to perform in front of people again that I can do while I'm still locked in my house, because this doesn't seem to be ending at any clear time. And so I had stumbled into streaming from that, and I stumbled into Taffy's chat, and I was like, please tell me how to do the thing. And, you know, I did, and it worked. So and I've been streaming since. I think it's about 3 years now, and it's been really great. It's been really fulfilling.
Hell yeah. I feel like I stumbled into Twitch where like it was a combination of I was just interested in tech. I was like, oh, like how does streaming work? Like I was a computer geek. I wanted to see what made it tick. And the other part of it was that I hated single player gaming, and I would play single player games and have my friends watch. We'd all just like sit in at the time, mumble. We'd sit and mumble and just watch each other play games, and like that gave me like my first 5 viewers, because they were just, you know, our friends, you know, my friends just consistently sitting there to talk to me, and then people just kind of trickled in, and like, I feel like it's a frustrating thing to hear probably when people are like, oh, like I want to set out and do this thing, and for me, I'm like, it just kind of happened, like, and I feel like part of that is that people can pick up when you really like it. I think, like, I really loved it. I had a great time, and people would come in and be like, oh my God, this guy's having a good time. He loves it, and I think because I didn't take the approach of like, how do I make this my job, is why it became my job. That makes sense.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So I was in college to be a doctor. I was actually going to be a pediatrician, and then whenever I married my husband and we moved across the U.S. to California, lost that scholarship, and so then I went to get my technical degree in 911 dispatching. But we had a young son, and his 14-hour day shifts and my 12-hour graveyard shifts weren't working out with caregivers. So I quit to become just stay-at-home mom, and then I saw him watching somebody solo the Crota raid for Destiny, and I see you. And I asked him who he was watching, and he was like, oh, this person. I was like, oh, what YouTube channel is it on? And he was like, no, this is live. And I didn't believe him at first. I was like, there's no way, that doesn't exist. And so I went to twitch.tv at the time because it was after Justin, and was looking through the directory, and I was like, okay, well, I see, Call of Duty. I see all of these other ones that are pretty much generally always up at the top. And so I started searching more obscure games. Not anymore, but I was like, nobody's going to be playing The Sims. And so I found a married couple playing The Sims, and they made it this whole night party event. And I was like, whoa, I can do this. So I did. So I took my medical textbooks, my old college ones, stacked them up on my coffee table, took my Xbox Kinect, put that on those textbooks, made that my camera. And back in the old age of whenever Xbox had the snap feature, I would then start playing Destiny, and I snapped it with Twitch chat, which meant you get no audio during that. So I was playing the game with no audio, and I also could only see chat right here, no alerts, no nothing. And so I'm sitting there on my living room floor, everything on my coffee table, looking up at my TV. So this is the view they all get as well. And it was great. So that's where I started, very humble beginnings. And it wasn't for the sake of making money. It was more so I really love working, and I wanted something to work toward, because I at the time there was a little bit of money coming in at that point. It wasn't much still at all, but it was like, this could go somewhere maybe. That'd be sick. Yeah, the rest is history. Eventually, just through a lot of hard work, I never had a big luck boom. It's been 9 years of intense work and hella networking and finding my footing. Now I'm here.
Sam, one thing you just brought up that I think is really important, and I'd like for everybody to kind of chime in, starting with you. It is hard work. And in terms of what kind of work and what did you find when you were doing that work led to success? Because I'll be honest, I consider all four of you very successful Twitch streamers. You are in the top 1% of the platform. There's a lot of people on the platform. So what habits, what did you end up doing that led to that work what did you put in? What did you find was helpful?
Time. Putting in time and managing that time and making a schedule. I know you'll hear it through and through, but making that schedule is what made it work to me, but not as work as I have to work, but it's more so people are expecting me at this 9 to 5. And so I need to be there when people expect me at this 9 to 5. And making that a point to focus in on that time like you would a normal job allowed me to then figure out where I was needing to, I guess, put even more of that time instead of letting it trickle into my daytime with my son and our weekends and everything. And I'm not going to say it came really quickly. It was initially, son went to bed at 7. I started at 7:30 and streamed till midnight, woke up at 6 the next morning to be his mom. And that was the start of it. And then it was just years of, then he's in school. Let me work from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., pick him up from school, take care of him, and then I'm back to my 7:30 to 11 p.m. And it was a lot of learning and communication with my community and finding that groove, I guess. And it's not easy. It's really not. Some of you might be hella lucky, and it just Jacksepticeye is yo, you're the one for me. Let's hang out. And then you just boom. And that's stellar. But that's also very, very rare. And even then, you can have these high-profile friends, and it's still very, very rare because people are looking for you to entertain them. You need to be sticky. And in order to be sticky, you got to find what makes you sticky. So nobody can tell you how to be sticky.
For example, I had Jacksepticeye come into my channel.
Yeah, that's why I
and
referenced
give me
it.
$1,000. I have played with Northern Lion. I have hung out with Cobalt. I have hung out with all these people. And Justin is a master networker, and it sticks. Like, you know what I mean? Like people find you through those channels and they're excited to come to your channel and spend time there.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been around all these different channels and I've sniped the odd viewer here and there, but it's never been the thing where I've gone like, oh, well, I was at 3-figure concurrent viewers, now I'm at 4. And I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's right. There's no guarantee of success, even if you find yourself orbiting like the brass ring.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to throw my 2 cents in just real quick of just like, and I think I think Justin will probably back me on this. As far as the work outside of the stream goes, you have to low key be obsessed. I've never met anybody who's successful on this platform, and I would say like obsessed in a positive way, where like you just can't get it out of your mind. Even while Justin and I have been up here, we've been like spitballing stuff that we could do on stream, bits for his channel, upgrades for mine. And that's a decade later, and we're still, if you're not doing things to constantly sort of like zhuzh and reinvent and sort of like spice up your stream one way or the other, or just update it, I don't think that there's any treading water. You are fighting like uphill in a snowstorm forward, or even if you feel like you're in a good place and you're just maintaining a routine, that feels like backsliding to me.
Yeah. There's that there, the drive. Like I feel like it. I feel like for years I always had the idea like, oh, this is going to go away any moment. Like I have to keep working at this because it's fleeting. Like I've seen, like people I used to stream with years ago who don't stream anymore now, and they had channels 10 times the size of mine. And it's just like, it's such a fickle field where it's like, oh, you can just make a few small mistakes.
Yeah.
And there's no coming back from it, which I will say, just on that thought, I think it's another really good piece of advice. Keep your promises.
Yeah.
Keep your promises. There are so many channels I've seen go under because they promise huge to their channel, they can't deliver, and then they just kind of.
That's not even just deliverables. That's your schedule. That's it. Like if you tell your audience that you're going to do daily social uploads, that's a promise. You're going to be live on Fridays. That's a promise. You're going to do a giveaway. This sounds stupid, but like doing a giveaway. I am sending out Christmas cards in March because I forgot that I told people for St. Jude that I was going to do Christmas cards this year.
Yeah.
So I have Christmas cards going out in March because I feel like an asshole because I forgot that I
But
promised.
you kept the
people.
promise.
But I have to
Yeah.
keep it. Yeah, I'd walk it to their damn house at this point if I had to. But you got to keep your promises for sure.
Yeah.
So like when you're doing content creation, it's always the talk is like, how do I get my thing, in this case Twitch, to catch? Like how do I get that audience? Because that's what leads to everything else. And in my experience, there's generally one of 2 ways. There's networking and collaborating with other people, and that can help drive people to your platform. Or you can be importing that audience from another platform. For example, for me, it was Twitter. I had 24K followers on Twitter. And I was able to import some of those, and a lot of those are not going to convert because it's a different kind of medium. Like it would be easier, say, for like Taffy to convert from YouTube to Twitch because it's a similar kind of medium. But if you have that audience somewhere, you can bring them over. And if you don't have that audience, you need to get engaged with the community in a way where you can find someone who does and someone you can make friends with, and perhaps that like you can sort of. Most streamers are not like existing in a vacuum. They are part of a network of other streamers that they are friends with, and they share a certain amount of their viewership. And so I think that making an active effort to connect with other creators, and also making an effort to be like, I need to grow places that's not just Twitch, because Twitch's discoverability is not very good. Yeah. So like, I think if you look at it in those ways, the approach really is a 2-pronged approach, because you probably do both. That can help a lot with like making sure that you catch as a creator.
Now, what nobody up here is saying is that you should go and seek out other creators purely for stealing their audience. That's messed up. You need to form genuine relationships with these people. Otherwise, it ain't going to work.
Well, that goes back to what Justin said.
Yeah.
Just like your audience will sniff out the insincerity and the bullshit on you.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
For sure.
especially because
And
you're
other
live.
streamers will.
And other streamers will crucify you
Because like,
for
Yeah.
it.
I think all of you like maybe agree, but like I feel like as a streamer, you constantly have it in your head. You don't want to ask other streamers things because you don't want to seem like you just want something out of them.
Yeah.
But then like you want people to approach you, but they're definitely thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to say. I feel like it's frustrating to say like it has to be organic because it's like, well, how do you make an organic? You can't make an organic thing happen, really. But yeah, like that is to say, like anyone I stream with, all of it was organic. Like there was no one else just like, hey, I'm a fan of your stream. We should do stuff together. It was just like, oh, we just became friends and now we stream.
Well, I was lightly manipulative.
you
Like you
got
and
my
Grizz-
ass to move to Richmond.
you
man.
and,
Yeah.
you and Brizzy, I both kind of like. Here's the thing, though, right? Like, you can admire somebody's work, and I saw Justin, I saw Brizzy, I saw a handful of people because I had to leave for a year for a family illness, and I came back and started flat-footed. My first stream, because I imported my audience from YouTube, was to 500 concurrent viewers. My first stream after I came back from a year helping my wife beat cancer, I came back to 35. Thank you. I did none of it. She's a goddamn Spartan warrior. I was just there feeding her cake. It helps. It's not, not to downplay it, I guess. But I came back flat-footed to an audience of 35. Now, I mean, like, it was. Speaking of Spartans, like those were my 300 most devout warriors. Like, there were people who still had their subs active after a year of me telling them my content creation career is done. So like, the core of my community was strong, but it was very small. And I was like, man, I got to get back into the industry, which meant that I needed to go make friends in the industry. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you know, I was sending out PIs to bring me case studies on Justin and Brizzy and Caliverse and Deadpine, but like, I went and found streams that were comparable in size. And then I was like, damn, I really actually like what they do. It's fun to watch. So I went and spent time in their streams. Now, if I'm answering emails, if I'm working on a Photoshop thumbnail, I have their streams open. I talk, I drop a couple subs, I drop some bits. Then we bump into each other at cons and stuff. And then at that point, you have a chance to see, do you really enjoy each other's company? But like, you know, I don't spend time in channels, that won't profit me in some way, whether I'm learning something that I want to emulate or dead ass steal, or like, you can talk about like all the top ones, all the top people, and all the drama that goes on like live stream fails. I've never seen those streams. They don't help me.
Yeah.
And so it's just being conscious and aware of who in the space is doing good work, and then being open and trying to be a good community member to them and sincere in that aspect. And then maybe stuff like this happens and you get a nice wagon train of like-minded creators, and you all kind of get to come up together. So,
one of the ways that I think is really important, one of the things that I don't know if any of these creators up here will maybe talk about, I'm not sure, is finding people who will be your advocate too, who is going to say good things about you in circles where it could be helpful for you. Having somebody that is going to go out there and say, hey, listen, you're an amazing creator, I'm your friend. Have you heard of this person? Because you two are really cool, and I think it'll be really great to if you two connected and joined. And the only way you're going to get those advocates is, as we're saying, is if you form those genuine connections.
You don't get to ask for that, though. You can earn that.
No, you earn it, to be very clear.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to form those genuine connections and have people that are in your corner. Twitch can be, and YouTube, and content creation can be lonely at times. Actually, kind of speaking on that a little bit, does anybody want to kind of comment about the loneliness of this work?
Oh, I'd love to. No, it gets, I mean, Taffy and Noah here would know, I feel like every few months I hit a breaking point where I'm like, Taffy, I have to come over. Because I haven't spoken to someone off stream in weeks or months. It's insanely isolating. And I feel like you get into the pattern where, you're putting in a lot of stream hours, then your stream goes off and you're working on other stream related things, you're talking to your community, and it gets to a point where it's like, I don't know what my identity is anymore other than the streamer. And that's a problem. It's genuinely I will say it's not as bad as it used to be. It's a thing. I finally found a therapist who knows what Twitch is. that was big. That was huge. But it could be an extremely isolating thing, even if I don't know. The one thing I've learned though is I feel like that's at least somewhat universal. It's a little comforting when I see a streamer who I consider 100 times bigger than me, and they're like, man, I've been lonely as hell.
Yeah.
Things haven't been great lately. And I'm like, oh yeah, I think we just all feel this. But this is I feel like doing creative stuff can be a little isolating for sure.
Yeah, I think it's hella lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that it honestly goes away because you are yourself. You're by yourself in the end. Most of the time you're talking to a screen. You could have hundreds of people. You're still by yourself. And it's important to acknowledge that, because then you can figure out those steps to take care of yourself as well. I think having those moments of building friendships, very genuine friendships, because people can and people will stepstone you And you need to be, I don't want to like tell you, you gotta be prepared for that. But I'm telling you now, they could be your best friend in the world. And then the next week you're like, hey, you want to play a game? And they just won't talk to you. And it's as petty as high school feels. And it's not that they don't like you anymore. It's just in their head, they are also alone. And so they're trying to figure out, how do I get this next bit further for myself? It's never, I hate Sam and I don't ever want to talk to her again. It's more so, I myself need to then figure out what my next step is, because maybe playing this game with this group of friends is not helping my content. It's very me, my, I. And that's important. But also at the same time, be hyper aware of how you're treating people, because people are going to remember that. And that's a big part of the networking as well. When Noah was like, hey, you should work with this person, you won't get recommended at all, because people are gonna be like,
Steer clear of them.
yeah. The streamer space is broad, very small, and we talk. It's not that it's a gossip thing. It's like hey, I want to put together this event, and they're like, well, you should definitely look at these people. And then if somebody mentions someone, it's like, well, I had this issue here with this person, and so we're hyper aware of all of this information. So just be a decent ass human. You got this. I swear.
So 9 million people stream every month on Twitch, and only about 3,000 of us do it as a full-time job. So if you piss in the punch bowl, it gets around pretty fast who did it.
Yeah.
That's a weird analogy.
Absolutely.
When you piss in the punch bowl, as we all do.
The punch bowl has that weird like pool dye.
Dude, we were at MAGFest. Somebody shit in the elevator. All right, that was the least weird thing I could come up with. For this. Yeah,
Excuse me?
Yeah, like on
That was not common knowledge, Taffy.
You see, it's getting around.
An
Whoever did it,
Aerosmith song.
we know you're the poopy elevator person.
We know who did it. And
Sorry.
Another thing that I kind of want to highlight too, that every single person on this panel has had to go through a series of reinventions with their content, with who they are, how they've approached content creation. If you think that you figured it out and you hit a groove, good. You're great for that week. Can you all talk a little bit about the reinventions you've had to do on stream and how you've had to change over time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you're streaming, a thing that helps me, for me to keep in mind with having to reinvent myself and not getting discouraged around that kind of thing is like, you're not really there as yourself. You're playing sort of an exaggerated character version of yourself for an audience. And so you're putting certain parts of yourself more forward and certain parts of yourself more backwards. And you'll find as time goes on what people are responding to. And, inherently you're going to lean into those things. And so, at least from my experience, has been like less like revolutionary transformations and more like a slow drift from different senses of self and what people resonate with as an audience. And I find that for me has been like a very effective way to look at it, because it also means I can step away from it and be like, okay, my viewership has been down. This character is not working, as opposed to being like, well, I'm failing, and it's all going to fall apart, and I'm going to die. That, like, at least for me, has been like a big source of comfort as I would go through like transitionary periods. Like right now, I'm working much harder on my podcast, Goaltenders, than I am on my stream. And as such, my stream is like, my core audience is there, but it's like not as big as it once was. When you have a stream, it's sort of like rings of a tree, I guess you could think of it. You have your core audience, and they're probably not going to go anywhere pretty much no matter what you do, unless you really, really mess up. Yeah. Like I had to turn down like when the NFT games were trying to give you money. That was like, no, that'll go right to the center of the tree. Yep. But so like as you move into different spaces, you'll see those outer rings shift and change, and ultimately your goal is to find a way to drift those people in to create a sense of community. And to try to create something that's engaging enough that they will slot you into their life. Because on Twitch, you're not just competing for someone's free time, you're competing for someone's specific time slot against all the other people who are at that specific time slot. And so you need to offer them whatever you is engaging them the most at that point, and also whatever community you can cultivate within that. Because that people don't come just for you, they come for you, and they come for the chat too. People love to come in and they like to talk to the other people there. And that's also part of the reinventing and the thinking of yourself as cultivating the way that you want your audience to interact with one another.
That's a great answer.
That was good.
Yeah, very good answer.
Mine is just either my analytics are bad, my revenue's down, or I'm bored. And that's where the reinvention lies for me. Where at its worst, I decided that I wasn't going to play the games that cultivated my viewership, and I was going to play whatever I wanted. Because if Dan's Gaming could do it, so could I, and I had not earned that. So I went from 200-300 concurrents down to 30. And was about to fly it into a mountain and did a hard reset. Went back to the game that, ended up like buying me a house because that was what people wanted to watch. And then within that, like Barry said, just narrowing that cone of focus. It could be something as big as the content you're making is killing your channel. And then you narrow down the cone of focus and you go, am I enjoying the game? If so, or can I tolerate the game that people want to watch? Great. You narrow it down even further. I'm bored. I need new assets. I need something. I need new emotes. I need a new. My thing is I pay animators to just make me crazy bit alerts and gift sub alerts. And that's the thing is that and if it's not that, I've steal a page from Justin. I need a bit. I need to give them something, a carrot on a stick to go after. That's a cooking stream or an outdoor cookout stream, or just recently we did a haunted lock-in as a reward for September, where we went and spent the night. We spent the night before Halloween in a 600-year-old haunted theater, and basically did like IRL Phasmo, and that was just something like. I woke up on a Friday with that knot in my head, and by Friday evening I called Noah and I was like, we have to find a venue. I didn't set a thing, and now you're in this with me, and you have to do it, and I need help.
And I found that venue.
Yeah, so it's just that kind of stuff. That's the three for me. Is is it my analytics? Am I bored, or is it just time to spruce things up?
Yeah. For me, I feel like my channel early. I feel like it's reinvented a few times, but not so much, because as time goes on, I'm realizing I'm the content.
Yeah.
I am the reason that people are coming. It's what am I? I feel like a lot of my career has been dodging getting stuck on a game. It's I'm just, trying to be a variety streamer, which is hard because, you get a game that hits big and then you're like, well, I'm just going to ride this thing into the ground. And then before you know it, you're like, oh shit, I'm a PUBG streamer now.
Yeah.
And you have to mix things in with it too. But I started early on, I was doing Minecraft, and then that kind of shifted into D&D-esque stuff with a show U-Realms I was on, and that shifted into PUBG. And then that kind of shifted into being on the NLSS a lot. And it's there's all these weird eras that keep moving through. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of a skill to flow with that. Yeah. You have to really be conscious of, what people are responsive to. And on the note of kind of personalities and stuff, I've realized that if I stream and I am depressed or really stressed, I get way less viewership. And it's not because people are screw this guy, he's sad. It's more I'm stressed now. I'm a little depressed. It's got me thinking about my shit.
That's not what they're
Oh yeah.
That's not what they're there for. So I have a weird back and forth. People were like, oh, I really respect that you're very open. You talk about your feelings and this and that. And then other people were like, yeah, I have to tune out when you're sad because then I feel like shit. So kind of finding that middle ground. So
I will only deliver sad news to my audience with a huge smile on my face.
yeah, there has to be a resolve. It can't just be despair. It has to be, this thing sucks, and here's how I'm working on it.
I could be full blown panicked. I could be on the verge of a break, an existential crisis, and I'm just like, hey everybody, what's going on? Nothing means anything. All right, Binding of Isaac. Let's get going. Woo!
My journey has been a whirlwind as well, just as somebody who's a mom that had a very young child, and now we've been at this for a very long time, and he likes to pop in on stream and be like, yo, sup, Emily? And it's sick kid, love him. But I started as a family-friendly streamer, and I say started as in it's not that I am not anymore. I don't tag myself as that anymore because I went from The Sims, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, very, very cozy, comfy games to, oh no, he's hot in Final Fantasy 14. So I didn't want people having, a little sit down time with their kids in the morning and oh, there's Sam on about this really hot guy again. So we had to adjust with that. Now they still expect Sam to be a certain way, but at the same time, they're but it's not this specific content, and that's okay too. And you always need to make sure to brace your community for impact. If there's gonna be change, let them know there's gonna be change. And so that way people who, you're not going to keep everybody. And that's got to be something that you keep in your head forever, because you're going to be so hurt if you see a username that you saw for 3 years in another person's chat who's playing the game that you used to play. And that's okay, because you can't keep people like that. That's like trying to just cage people up, and that's not okay as well. So just be aware that when you're making changes, people are making changes too. But as long as you're bracing for impact on both sides, then you can expect that, and it's a mutual like respect as well, that you're not just, all right, we've been nonstop Animal Crossing, and then suddenly we're playing Doom. And sometimes it happens. I have done that, and it was great. But I have to brace them for impact. So another thing is, how many of you have full-time jobs? Sick. So I also on this panel have a 9-to-5. I have a full-time job, and I've only had it for a year. I had been full-time streamer up until I got my job within the gaming industry, but I am the live stream fundraising and gaming specialist over at the nonprofit Wounded Warrior Project. And so, thank you. So what I do is I actually do the exact same thing I do now for them. So I do a lot of content creation, curating a bunch of D&D and tabletop RPGs over on their Twitch channel, as well as making podcast shows over there as well, so that obviously I want, gaming does good, so I want to do something really good over there and take the expertise that I've learned. But that is my 9-to-5. I used to stream 9-to-5. And so I had to brace my community for impact, and it's like, y'all are gonna lose me. Not in the way that you think, but I'm gonna be over here most of the time. However, I still wanna make sure I have time to dedicate that is within my energetic means. So in the mornings, because I'm an early person, I like to do my makeup all the time. So I took that as this can be my content in the morning. So from 7 to 9 a.m., I'm sitting there and we're just hanging out. We're having coffee, we're doing my makeup, and it's just like, yeah, this is what I got planned for work today. What are y'all doing? Because some people are already at work because I'm Pacific time, or some are getting ready with me. Or there's our EU friends who are like, I'm getting ready for bed. This is sick, and that's great too. So you're gonna start then trickling into this new aspect, and people who are your core community are gonna follow that and be like, thank you for taking the time for that as well. However, then there's moments where I'll stream in the evenings, because I still have sponsors. So I still have obligations to Sam and not to Wounded Warrior Project. So I've got my 9-to-5, my 5-to-9. But be careful, my full-timers. You will burn out real quickly. So that's another thing to brace for impact. If you cannot feasibly do your 5 streams a week, don't do those 5 streams a week, because they're going to pick up quickly, and that's going to be what loses people. That goes alongside the I'm depressed, which is okay. I take my antidepressants. Holla, take your medicine. It's great.
Take your
But
meds.
yeah, take your meds. Med check. You take your medicine today? I'm glad. Thank you. But they're gonna pick up on those emotions and those feelings as well, because they can tell when you're tired. Sometimes you can straight up say, "Yo, I'm tired," and they're like, you should rest." And you're like, "No, because I have to be here." Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. It's the worst mentality to get into. There's that happy good obsession, and you have a problem.
Yeah, I'm
and
not
we can
right.
talk about
Yeah, I
that.
was about to say.
But this is not
The
fair.
number of times my audience has paid me not to stream because I was spite streaming them. I've got COVID and I'm tired and I'm in a bad mood, but I want to fight through it and put a smile on. They're like, you should go to bed. And I'm like, y'all gotta watch me play this fucking video game.
Now, that's part of, so when you're reinventing yourself and going through these waves and riding these waves, as Sam said, if you brace your community for impact, not everyone's going to follow through, and some of them won't follow, but they will be very vocal about not following you. And Taffy, I'm teeing you up for one.
Yeah, I know.
And so can you talk about how to manage your community and what it's like to prune it sometimes?
First of all, if you ever have somebody loudly announce that they're not watching your stream anymore, you can tell them, I stole this from, I think, Reddit. This is not an airport, and you don't need to announce your departure. Oh, no, I stole that too. None of my shit's original. Don't applaud me. I'm a thief. I had to go through a pretty intense restructure of my channel because I was miserable. Not like fun miserable, like what Justin and I are talking about, but like actual sad. Because my audience that I imported from YouTube was mostly a Call of Duty sort of like toxic, nasty, gamer words type like audience that would try to piss me off to see if I would like wing a controller into the wall like looking for that, like, oh, if I saw Summit punch a monitor the other day. Let's see if we can get Taffy to do the same thing. And it made for some long ass days, and long ass days in front of like 50, 60 viewers, which doesn't feel super gratifying. And then I ran into a broadcaster named Lars Fest, and he was playing the same game as me, but he was like a shaman. Like he basically came off as just like this like spiritual, like super happy dude with dreadlocks, and he's fucking just chilling, vibing, fucking singing songs with his chat, playing the exact same games that I do. And I was like, damn, that guy's day looks like it's going so much nicer than mine. That doesn't even look like work. Yeah, and so I came in, I was just like, hey, listen, all of y'all who suck, you got to get out. I was like, we're not doing this anymore. And I had a mod who was just like, nah. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know whose name's on the channel. But I was like, I will hoist your ass out myself, and then I will clothesline you at TwitchCon. I had people who were pissed, like legitimately like raised arms against me. And then it halved what was already my terrible viewership. But now, some years later, my viewership goes up, my viewership goes down, but the core group that's there is open and welcoming. I feel like the overwhelming majority of the people who are in my chat are not like me. And that is a huge source of pride for me, because that means that people feel free to be themselves in my channel. And I can be gruff and curmudgeonly and all that jazz, but like, I'll never do anything on my channel knowingly that will intentionally make somebody feel other, or that will make somebody feel uncomfortable. And if I do it, I'll be real quick to try to figure out what that behavior was and weed it out as fast as I can, because yeah, that was an aggressive restructure that I had to do for my personal benefit, but it's also created a space that I am absurdly proud of. I'm proud to curate that. So
Yeah.
I think it's also important to curate your audience in that way if you want it to grow. Like the example I can think of was, maybe somebody told this to me, or maybe it came out of my horrible brain, I don't know. Is like, imagine if you had a coffee shop, right? And you have a guy who's like, he comes in every day and he buys a coffee, which is good. But the trade-off is he's like, okay, I'm gonna hang out here for 4 hours and swing a samurai sword around. It's like, okay, well, you're selling the coffee to one guy, but how many people are like, whoa, I don't really know. Seems a little perilous. And like, that's the same way your community is. Like, if you have people in there who are like, even if they're paying, who are really bad vibes, those people are going to drive away growth and a community that you probably would rather spend your time with anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm really glad that, because I feel like, so I went through a similar thing to Taffy here. I feel like not as extreme, but like in terms of like a mod, but I feel like back in the day, there definitely was the idea of like, oh, you have to let your chat be nasty. Mm-hmm. You have to let your chat bully you and treat
we're
you
paying
like
your
shit.
bills.
Yeah. And I know like back then, I feel like streamers would be like, oh yeah, like it's I don't want to ban them. I don't want to lose a viewer. Mm-hmm. What if they have friends here? What if I lose many viewers because I banned this one jerk? And I'm glad to see that there's been more. I feel like people have kind of come around to like, no, like you could actually have like nice people online. You don't have to be a monster, it turns out. Imagine that. But no, yeah, it's super important to, like I say this, it's still hard for me. I feel like it is hard to tell someone, hey, your vibes are off, get out.
Yeah.
That feels bad to say to a person, but like, there's a more tactful way to do it than that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it depends on your community. I'll say if you're not Samly, you're Scramly, and then we get them out of there.
I like that. Yeah, very important to not let toxicity run rampant just because you're afraid of maybe losing a potential viewer.
Yeah, because then you'll lose more viewers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have like a minute before I open this thing up to questions. One thing I want to ask each of you, just rapid fire real quick, is if you had one piece of takeaway for everyone in this audience, the one thing, what would it be? And we are going to go in order for this one. So, Sam, are you ready? Or am I putting you on the spot?
No, let's do it.
Okay, go. One rapid fire takeaway.
Don't be afraid to play what you want. Nope.
Don't be afraid to do what you want.
Yeah, no, don't be afraid to play what you want.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Boo, I don't like that one.
And there's a reason why we have different mentalities.
You and I take very different approaches to streaming.
Oh, no, I didn't think of something. I was just listening.
Just listen.
Oh, geez.
Go ahead, Taffy. Come back, Justin.
My core nugget I give to anybody who comes through asking for advice is that you have to have a reason to have your ass in the chair that isn't money and fame. because I have spent enough time around the upper echelon that I've seen people who have attained, and Justin too, we have seen people who have attained disgusting amounts of success, and it's only made them more miserable. They were convinced that once they got to the top, it would finally be fulfilling and enriching, and they just hate the obligation more. So
Yeah, I'll say the thing I could think of, and I know it's easier said than done, is to really try not to compare yourself to others. It is such a horrible path to go down, and no matter where you get, like when I was at 10 viewers, I was comparing myself to my 50 viewer friends. At 50 to the 100, I'm like, I was having some like 1,000 viewer streams recently for Lethal, and I'm like, but my friend got 2,000. It's just such a, as soon as you have that thought, you got to just get rid of it. You have to push it out, or else it'll just drive you crazy.
Yeah.
So.
My advice would be, and like obviously you're an entertainer when you're a streamer, but I think you also need to think of yourself as a sort of community cultivator and community manager, because it's not just you that people are there for. People come to, like, if they're creating that space in their life for your time block, they're going to want to connect with the other people who are doing that, and I think that's very important.
My piece of advice is download my podcast, Forgotten Pats. No, I'm kidding. My piece of advice is, hey, this is the lawyer advice. When you're out there streaming, when you're having any revenue come in, keep in mind that you are a business. You need to treat yourself like a business. Even if it's a hobby, you need to make sure that you are doing things legally and properly, because otherwise it can really trip you up. So get advisors, whether they're legal, financial, personal, create that network. And if you want to succeed, you will. But if you get too much success too fast and you don't have that base, you're going to just fall right flat back on your face. So, all right, folks, we're going to open it up for questions as people line up in the middle to ask their question. Yeah, wants the toaster. Hold on one second. As people line up in the middle to ask their questions, I want to give everyone on the panel a chance to say where you can find them. That way we don't run out of time for that. So, Sam, where can people find you? Okay, Justin, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/HCJustin. I'm HCJustin everywhere except Twitter, where I'm HCJustin with 2 N's.
Twitch.tv/McLaffy Taffy, like Irish candy. And then McLaffy Taffy everywhere else except for Instagram, but I don't really take that place seriously, so don't worry about it.
You can find me at twitch.tv/bloodberrytart, or you can find my podcast Skull Tenders on whatever your podcatcher is. I would recommend you take out your phone and go to your podcatcher app and unsubscribe from Forgotten Paths.
What?
Instead, subscribe to Skull Tenders.
I respect it.
What? Never putting you on a panel again. And you can find me on Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch at My Lawyer Friend, and subscribe to both Skull Tenders and Forgotten Pats.
Who's got that kind of time?
But Forgotten Pats first. And Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Sam, SUM, or on twitch.tv/Wounded Warrior Project for some TTRPG and weekly jam.
All right.
Wait, hang on. And all socials at JustSam, JUSDSUM. You should also unfollow my lawyer friend. The heck? Silencing women in 2024?
Wow. Good thing we got the microphone out of his hands.
Yeah, let's all just go down the line and make some actionable threats while he doesn't have a mic.
This is premeditated motive.
Yes.
What? You're fired. Not again.
Aw, I have the power now. I have Noah's microphone. Thank you guys for rallying for this last day of our con. We appreciate you. I have a purely hypothetical question, and I'm just curious how each one of you would approach it. Let's say that fellow streamer is now ripping your videos from your own stream and commenting on them and saying some pretty rude stuff.
Like a reaction video?
Like a reaction video, but it's mostly with the intent of just saying like, oh, your gameplay is trash, you've lost this game so many times, look how much better I am than you, and like kind of using your stream as traction to almost get their fan base going.
Churning drama.
Sure, yeah, that works. So I guess I have strategies in my head, but I'd love to hear what you guys think.
So a thing that, and this is a mistake I see a lot of people make in the space, is they feel like, okay, this thing is happening, this person is being mean or weird or cruel to me, and I need to make a response. A lot of the time, the best thing you can do is freeze them out.
Yeah.
You pretend it's not happening. You don't respond to them. You don't give them anything to, because it's like, they're like the fish that are in your fish tank that like suck on the walls and the floor. If you don't like give them something to eat, they're not going to have something to eat because they're feeding on that scum. They're feeding on that negativity. And a lot of the time, the best thing you can do with somebody who is being unhinged or cruel to you on the internet is just completely freeze out any of the stuff that they're trying to get from you, because they're trying to get that reaction from you.
That's way more mature than what I was going to say. So do that. That sounds like an adult said it. So.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll chime in real quick. However, sometimes there are some really dangerous stuff out there that people can be implying or doing, or if they're completely ripping off all your stuff, then you should potentially seek legal counsel.
Yeah, if it got bad, I would just go to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seek
yeah.
legal counsel. Refollow my lawyer friend on Twitter.
Only to reach out to him.
Yeah.
And then unfollow again. Let him know. Take a stance.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got 2 questions. So, like, in terms of broadening your tool belt and trying to develop the skill set for streaming, I mean, do you have any resource recommendations, books, anything
Skillshare.
like that? Skillshare.
Yeah, 1,000 people are sponsored by them. Not me. You should sponsor me, Skillshare. However, I learned a lot of video editing specifically from that. Yeah, because a lot of times people will say, I can't do this, so I don't know how to utilize this platform. And it's true. I did it for like 7 years. And then finally I was like, oh, okay, let me use somebody's discount code and do it. And I did. And I had learned Premiere because of it. So, yeah.
I
That's
haven't
a really,
checked
really
into
good
it
one.
for a while, but Loco's thing.
Streamer Square.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Square.
Yeah.
Loco's done a really good job of curating a whole lot of like, I'm getting into streaming. What do I need to know? And Loco's really knocked out a pretty big, comprehensive, free library of stuff that you can go kind of dive through. Otherwise, Google Foo and YouTube University, you can find most of what you need in there.
I've had such incredible luck just going on YouTube and being like, how do I do this thing?
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody has, not only does somebody have it, like dozens of people have an answer for
Yeah.
you. And when I do that, I try to watch more than one of those. And you can sort of get an aggregate of what things are working for what people. And I think that can lead you to like the most definitive answer in trying to learn something, as opposed to like trying to learn from a specific teacher.
Or if you have a friend like Justin, you can just leverage your friendship and force him to come over and do it for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm a little nerd though. I love that shit.
Yeah, no, you get you really get into it.
It's adult
So.
Lego.
Find one naive enough to do it.
And then just to follow up, another question is for the people who know, like, I've got full-time gig. It's really not going anywhere in terms of that for the foreseeable future anyway. But I still would like to try to grow. So I know the hustle. I know managing your expectations and coming to Jesus meetings are very important. But anything else that you would say specifically for people who know, like maybe affiliate, that's my cap. Like what kind of recommendations you would have for that kind of growth?
I got something.
Yeah, go for it.
Your full-time gig and my full-time gig are very similar. So hopefully this is applicable. But right now you have the goals of hitting affiliate, hitting partner, that kind of stuff. Re-examine the goals and that you have and see if you can achieve the same feeling of success through other means. So for example, my goal at one point was to be an amazing streamer that averaged at least 70 concurrents every time I went live, have a blast, and have Taffy look over at me and give me some sort of approval. Still waiting for that.
Absolutely not.
And so what I instead pivoted to do is I said, you know what? I really loved tabletop gaming. I'm going to start a podcast. That is my primary content now. And that is what I stream. People ask me to stream with them for charities and stuff like that. I work incredibly hard on that content. And it fits around the schedule that is incredibly hectic as a lawyer. So examine your schedules. Keep a schedule. That's one of the most important pieces of advice that was given up here. But make sure your schedule is something you can maintain.
That's the first promise you make to your chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's like when you're making that schedule, it is better, in my opinion, it is better if you have to stream less often but be perfectly consistent versus trying to stream more and sometimes you're not able to make that stream. It is better you are perfectly consistent.
Yeah.
You got to think of yourself like a TV show. People need to know when you're going to be on. And if you're not, they're going to lose the faith that you believe in your own content.
It's Pavlovian.
Yeah.
And also, just know thyself. Physician, know thyself. I mean, like it's.
good.
There was an article written by a guy a while back that said that he was at the top of the Twitch game, and he said one of the biggest problems he saw with people coming in was a lack of inherent honesty with themselves, and he drew a D&D comparison saying like they may be like a half-orc barbarian, but they're trying to promote themselves as though they're like an elf paladin.
Oh, yeah.
And so just like know who you are, be honest, kind, but honest and harsh about like I'm good at this, I'm bad at that, I'm going to work on the things that I'm bad at. I'm going to go find channels that do what I would imagine my stream would be if it became what it is inside my head, and take notes, apply that. I look to the channel to my left and the channel to my right, and a lot of the times I go, I'm not more entertaining than them. Shit, what do I do? So I went and dumped money into like alerts and stuff so that my channel feels like an event, and it has very little to do with just how great I am and a lot to do with I've just surrounded myself with good trappings. So just be really honest about what you're bringing to the table, and if you don't know what that is, you got to dig like a maniac to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for the talk. And coming off from the last question a bit as well, so this might be a bit difficult, but for example, I have ADHD, sometimes very jumbled brain, minus charisma. Because of it also, English is not my first language, so I have like some minuses in my charisma, and I'm here to become more confident of this. So I wanted to ask, when you started, did you feel like, oh, this is so easy for me and I'm really meant for this? Or was there any that you feel that were shortcomings in yourself that you had to overcome to make good content?
That same guy who wrote that article told me I was bad. that guy who wrote that article.
Just like in the abstract, just bad.
Like he came in because I was like, I'm trying to get my Twitch stream going again and pivot off of YouTube. And he came in to critique me, and I jumped into like Skype afterwards. And he goes, yeah, man, you know, like you can tell that you've got public speaking experience and you have a theater background, but you're terrible at Twitch. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't talk to chat, you just ignore them. And like that was my first criticism, was like, oh yeah, I can tell you really want to be here, but boy, you suck at being like a live broadcaster. So no, I have spicy brain, and I still to this day think that I'm terrible at things that I'm constantly trying to work at and whittle away at, that I need to get better at still 10 years in. So
For sure. Like, I think too, I mean, I feel like maybe this, I hope it's true for everyone for the most part, but I feel like it's always, anytime I've had those feelings, I'm like, oh, this is pretty much in my head. Yeah. Like this is, and the confidence is just hard to get by. Like just personally, I didn't stream with a webcam until 2017. I started in 2011. But I was so convinced. I was like, yeah, I feel like I look a little off-putting. Like, I don't think people are going to be responsive to this. And like, I was just wrong. I believe that. So like, yeah, the doubt is definitely prominent. It's hard to shut out,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
As a fellow ADHDer, a lot of times it's just honing into who you are. So utilizing the fact that I know that there's a lot of people within my community who have neurodivergency, and having that relative factor is really important to making people comfortable. So if you're open, or this goes with anything, if you have something that is uniquely you, there's always somebody who wants to relate to that, and they're trying to find that somebody that they can relate to.
Yeah.
And so utilizing that, not making it, of course, your entire personality, because it takes away from you as a person, but at the same time, someone else can be like, oh yeah, me too. And then they'll notice like maybe your little ticks and like, oh, there's Sam's brain again.
I want to second that and say that my stream didn't really find its stride until I used my negatives to become positives, and I didn't do it on purpose, but I just kind of got tired of like kind of trying to hold up a mask about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, God, you know what I really hate about myself right now? And I said with a smile on my face, not like wellness check time, but like I was like, oh, the thing about me that drives me crazy. And then I'd say it, and then there'd be people in chat who'd go, oh shit, I thought it was just me. And then that sparks like an hour-long conversation where you get
It
a
helps
bunch of
other
stuff
people
out.
take off the mask.
And it makes you
Yeah.
it makes you relative, it makes you relatable.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People want that humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great answer.
Next question.
You had originally answered my question, and that's why I sat down, but then I thought up of another one. Thank you for
I'm in,
streaming
yeah, I love
Square. I'm definitely going to
causing
look up
problems.
them because I want to get into fighting game streaming. But I do a lot of Blender 3D modeling, and I do a bunch of other stuff. But this is going to be a question that's going to be more towards the backbone, the foundation. If someone is looking to get into maybe helping a content creator out,
Sure.
being a mod, being someone at an event, setting up like a booth for them, how would you go about that?
That actually feels like more of a Noah answer.
Yay! Thank you.
I just take from people. I don't give back.
If you want to get into that, the first thing to do is be present. The second thing to do is be genuine, and the third thing to do is don't expect anything, because content creators are surrounded. content. I'm saying this from the legal perspective. Content creators, I'll be honest, are surrounded by potential danger because of doxing, swatting, all the things that we don't want to talk about on this panel, but are unfortunate realities. And so gaining the trust of a content creator is an incredibly valuable thing, and you can only do it once. You have the opportunity, and it's going to take time. Offering to do things and being vocal and saying, hey, no worries if not, but like if you need help, I'm going to be at PAX West if you need somebody to look at the booth. I can do that kind of thing. But also be comfortable being told no.
Yeah. That's great. You offer up your help, and then if they say no, don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Like it's okay that they said no. But yeah, that's pretty well. Pretty well it.
Yeah, I think it's also can be helpful to like if you do something like that you need a place where people can see the work you are doing, so that they can decide if they want to engage with you in that way. Like the artist that I commission the most to make stuff for my stream now was somebody who started out like making little free fan art doodles in my Discord for and it was like through that I got to become familiar with his style, and I was like, oh, this is actually a style that works really well for my content. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, that's like my main artist, and it's like a paid gig. But because he put himself out there in that way, that was how I was able to know that about him. If he just came into my chat and was like, I think that you should pay me to do art, I would have been like, all right, snipers take him out from the building kind of thing. Like,
Allegedly. I want to make sure we have time to get to these last two questions because this thing is telling me that we're currently on another panel.
Okay.
Yes, what's your question?
Hi. So I'm someone who's not necessarily good at games, but I still want to create content. So my question is, do you think there's room in kind of the niche for somebody whose specialty is analyzing like the story of different pieces of media, kind of like drawing connections to real life?
Oh, I mean, what is it, Vati Vidya? I don't ever expect that I'm going to understand a Soulsborne game until Vati Vidya spoon feeds it to me. Like I get excited when a new Soulsborne game drops because I know that means new Vati Vidya content is coming out. So absolutely, deep diving the lore and understanding the mechanics and the analytics and all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of us, depending on just which community that it is, that will gobble that up.
My name is Bife, Lore Daddy.
Yeah,
It's
Bife is
this whole
Bife's
thing,
awesome.
and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's absolutely space for that. I do think that you probably will find a much stronger audience for it on YouTube than Twitch, because that's the kind of thing that people want on demand as opposed to like a thing that a program that they're showing up for regularly. But that's the thing people are going to search for. People are going to want that analysis. And I think that putting yourself on a platform that is a little more video on demand as opposed to live streaming, you're going to see a lot more dividends and growth for that kind of content you want to make, because there is a market for that on YouTube for sure.
I will say that you can tackle both those at the same time though.
Yeah.
Like Purge with Dota
Yeah.
will do patch note reviews on Twitch, and then he'll bring the VOD over to YouTube, and people who just want the information will go get it on demand. But there are people who want to be there and have the live back and forth about like, oh, do you think this is going to be good for Crystal Maiden or bad for Crystal Maiden?
Yeah.
And he gets to have that interaction. But then the people who just want to go gobble that up on demand, so you can do both at once.
Yeah, and that's actually something that Twitch is trying to encourage right now too, because you can also use their clips feature for short form content. So
Double dipping is important.
Yeah.
So my question is about hashtags, because I know using hashtags is really important to get new people into your stream, but I have no knowledge of what works for what. Is there like a resource you can go to that explains out which hashtags work best for which content?
I have your answer. It's in your dashboard. So whenever you go and create your title, you'll have a lot of times the tags that you can utilize, and within your dashboard, it'll show you how many impressions that specific tag people clicked on your stream for. So if you have specific curated content, sometimes people use hashtags to be silly. It's like, no backseating. Didn't I say no backseating? What are you doing here? Only cute backpacks. Get out of the passenger seat, princess. Or things like that. Nobody's going to search those. That's just silly. But there could be ones that are like playing with viewers or LGBTQIA+, or something
But
that
I don't even
is-
know what to type in to get those things to pop up.
Gotcha. So there are, God, I hate that Twitter is this resource, but there are threads on Twitter specifically about what hashtags do best. I would Google that, and then it should bring you up these specific tags. But whenever you start utilizing those tags, or as you start typing tags in, the most utilized ones will start to pop up as well. And then within your dashboard, you can go and see which ones worked best for you. as well. And I'm assuming you're only talking about Twitch, right? Because the other platforms
pretty
are a
much.
whole other monster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, your creator dashboard is significant information. There's a lot of analytics that I recommend all of you are always on top of after every stream, because it'll show your highs and lows of everything, including your tags. But utilize them. Tags are important.
Awesome.
Questions outside.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
If anybody has any other questions, I'll hang out outside for a little bit. If anybody had something.
Quick